Hi, this is DeeBee Daws, and I'm living welderly with positivity. I have sometimes found myself in a position of having to decide between being right and living in peace. Today, I want to talk about the value of living with positivity, despite circumstances that threaten to put you in a place of contention. Living in peace is one of the most profound and valuable states of being, bringing tranquility, contentment, and harmony to our lives. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but a positive presence of serenity and understanding both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. Achieving and maintaining peace requires intentional effort, mindfulness, and often the humility to rise above petty arguments and ego-driven conflicts. Inner peace is the cornerstone of a happy life. It allows us to navigate the ups and downs of existence with grace and resilience. When we are at peace with ourselves, we experience less stress, anxiety, and turmoil. This tranquility promotes better mental and physical health, as stress is a major contributor to many illnesses. A peaceful mind fosters clarity, creativity, and the ability to make thoughtful decisions. It enhances our overall well-being and enables us to live more fulfilling lives. Ego-driven conflicts often stem from a desire to be right, to win, or to assert dominance over others. These arguments are fueled by pride, insecurity, and a need for validation. However, engaging in such conflicts rarely brings satisfaction or resolution. Instead, it often leads to frustration, anger, and strained relationships. The energy spent on these arguments could be better invested in constructive and positive interactions. Silly arguments, especially those based on ego, have no place in a happy life because they distract us from what truly matters. They create unnecessary tension and disrupt the harmony in our relationships. Holding on to grudges or insisting on being right can damage bonds with family, friends, and colleagues, leading to feelings of isolation and regret. In the grand scheme of life, winning an argument is far less important than maintaining the love and respect we share with others. Living in peace involves cultivating forgiveness and understanding. It means letting go of the need to always be right and instead seeking to understand others' perspectives. This doesn't imply agreeing with everything or compromising your values, but rather approaching conflicts with empathy and a willingness to listen. By prioritizing understanding over winning, we can resolve conflicts more amicably and strengthen our relationships. Forgiveness is a powerful tool in maintaining peace. Holding on to resentment only harms ourselves, keeping us trapped in a cycle of negativity. Forgiving others and ourselves frees us from this burden, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. It fosters a sense of compassion and openness, essential components of a peaceful and happy life. Mindfulness and self-awareness are crucial in avoiding ego-driven arguments. By being mindful of our thoughts, emotions, and triggers, we can respond to situations more calmly and rationally. Self-awareness helps us recognize when our ego is taking control, allowing us to step back and assess whether the conflict is worth pursuing. It empowers us to choose peace over pride and harmony over hostility. Creating a peaceful environment also plays a significant role in living a happy life. Surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive people who encourage growth and understanding enhances our sense of peace. Engaging in activities that promote relaxation and joy, such as meditation, nature walks, or hobbies, helps maintain a peaceful state of mind. Effective communication is key to avoiding unnecessary arguments. By expressing our thoughts and feelings honestly yet respectfully, we can prevent misunderstandings and resolve differences constructively. Active listening, where we truly hear and consider others' viewpoints, fosters mutual respect and reduces the likelihood of conflicts escalating into ego battles. Living in peace is invaluable to our overall happiness and well being. It involves cultivating inner tranquility, practicing forgiveness, and understanding and being mindful of our ego. Silly arguments based on ego only disrupt this peace, creating unnecessary tension and conflict. By prioritizing peace, we can lead more harmonious, fulfilling lives and build stronger, more meaningful relationships. In a world often filled with chaos and conflict, choosing peace is a powerful and transformative act that benefits not only ourselves, but also those around us. I found a story that illustrates this subject, and I want to share it with you. It's a story by Grace Ellington, and she's entitled it Overgrown Branches. She says, "My neighbor and I finally made peace about the tree trimming on the day the Challenger exploded after takeoff. It was a moment that changed everything for me, and it made me see things in a completely different way. It was 1986, and I was living in Florida at the time. I had been having problems with my neighbor over a tree that was blocking our view. We had been arguing about it for weeks, and we just couldn't seem to come to an agreement. But all of that changed on that fateful day. I remember watching the Challenger take off from Cape Canaveral. It was a beautiful day, and the sun was shining brightly. The whole world seemed to be watching as the shuttle blasted off into space. I watched from my backyard, and we were excited enough that our typical bickering about the branches that would fill my yard with leaves and who was responsible for trimming them was set aside for the launch. We were all so excited, but then everything went horribly wrong. My neighbor and I were standing in our backyards, staring up at the sky, when we heard a loud explosion. At first, we thought it was thunder, and it was surreal. We saw the explosion in the sky, but it was so far away we couldn't accept what we saw. We knew something terrible had happened, and we knew what it was, but we didn't want to know. And so our heads came up with a million other reasons. My neighbor didn't have a television set, and I didn't bat an eye when he stepped through the gate between our backyards. We rushed inside to turn on the news, hoping there would be none, hoping we were entirely wrong. We weren't. Details came in over the next several hours, but there was really only one detail that mattered. The Challenger had exploded, killing all 7 crew members aboard. My neighbor remained at my house to stay close to the television set. It never occurred to me to think twice about it. We ordered food and kept our eyes glued to the television screen. That moment changed everything for me. Suddenly, the argument with my neighbor over the tree seemed foolish and meaningless. Who cared about the view on any particular day? It didn't just change things for me and my neighbor, it changed things far more universally for me. I remember growing up, a teacher told me almost everyone in her age could tell you exactly where they were when and what they were doing when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. I knew this was my generation's event, the one where everyone I knew who was about my age would know exactly where they were and what they were doing when the Challenger exploded. When we finally turned off the television, my neighbor said, "I'll get that stupid tree trimmed tomorrow." I wanted it trimmed, but I just didn't want to lose the fight, he said. I laughed and said, I don't even care if it gets trimmed anymore. If you do, though, I'll pay for half. I guess we both realized that we had been acting like children, bickering over something that wasn't really important. It seemed particularly unimportant when I learned the cost to have it trimmed. Turned out to be less than $25. My half was less than we spent on the food while we watched the news. We weren't fighting because of any effort that we'd want to put out. Just like my neighbor, I wanted to win. If this were a Hollywood movie, I guess this is the part where I'd tell you my neighbor and I became good friends and eventually started a wonderful romance, got married, and have been married for 30 years or so. Well, it didn't happen at all. We never really became friends, but we stopped being enemies. I could count on him if I went on vacation to water my yard or take care of my houseplants. He could count on me for the same. We were at peace. We were at peace because a terrible event taught us that silly arguments based on ego have no place in a happy life. I like to think the terrible event taught me a number of lessons about living peace that I carry with me to this day. God created us to have relationships. The most important relationship is the one we have with Him through our faith in Christ. And when we have a healthy, personal, intimate connection with God, we can have great relationships with the people in our lives. It's God's will for us to live in peace and harmony with one another. In 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 11 and 12, it reads, "They must turn from evil and do good. They must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil." Having peace with others doesn't mean we won't ever disagree, but we must do it respectfully and avoid strife. I want to end today with a funny joke. I found this in volume 2 of Stan Cronin's book, The Best Clean Jokes Ever. There was a little town in Georgia, and a motorist had to pay a farmer $20 to pull him out of a mud hole. He said, "Seems to me you'd be so busy pulling folks out of these lousy mud roads that you'd be doing it day and night." "Nope, can't pull 'em out at night," drawled the farmer. "Night's when we tote water to muddy up the road." They had a good business plan. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week. Look for me on your favorite podcast channel, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And, of course, my website, www.livingwelderly.com. I welcome your comments. If you have a subject you'd like me to cover, please feel free to let me know in the comments. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. Living Welderly with positivity. Bye.